Good morning. Welcome to episode 68 of the Driller Newscast, a weekly update on the news and stories impacting the drilling and water industry. I'm your host, Brock Yorty, and we're back. I'm happy to be back. The 2-week break was good, but we missed some really great news, so we're going to have to jump back to June 23rd when the Supreme Court released their opinion on the Navajo Nation versus the USA and versus Arizona on water. I was there in March when they had the oral arguments. For our feature, we have Executive Director Kim Barclay of the South Atlantic Jubilee, our big drilling conference that happens in Myrtle Beach at the end of July. But before we jump back into the news and talk with Kim, let's talk some safety. For this week in safety, we're going to talk about hydrating to be great. And employers, it's up to us to make sure we're providing waters for our worker on site. Extreme weather, extreme heat, it is here. OSHA just released a statement after the 4th of July holiday. 4th of July was the hottest day on record throughout the world. This is the statement. Employers should provide cool water for workers to drink. Proper hydration is essential to prevent heat-related illness. For those working 2 hours or more, they should also provide access to additional fluids that contain electrolytes. For short jobs, cool, potable water is sufficient. Workers should be encouraged to drink at least 1 cup, 8 ounces of water every 20 minutes while working in this heat, not just if they are thirsty. For longer jobs that last more than 2 hours, employers should provide electrolyte-containing beverages such as sports drinks. Workers lose salt and other electrolytes when they sweat. Substantial loss of electrolytes can cause muscle cramps and other dangerous health problems. Water cannot replace electrolytes. Other types of beverages are needed. Water or other fluids provided by the employer should not only be cool, but should also be provided in a location that's familiar to the workers, near work, and easy to access in sufficient quantities for the duration of the workday. Rest in cooler locations is also very important while they rehydrate. We need to think about this. We work with water every day. And the rule of thumb, when I was working with the military, if you're thirsty, you're already a quart low. We need to be grabbing water for everybody on site, handing it out. Get the OSHA NIOSH Heat Index app, watch those warnings, review what we've talked about extreme heat, and understand that we need to make sure that we're being safe in these extreme heat situations. It is very easy to get somebody to succumb to heat-related illness or worse. We need to get them in shade. We need to get cool water into them. And there's always the possibility that we should have already called 911 to get that core body temperature reduced by trained professionals. Be safe out there. Stay hydrated. Stay cool. For this week, the news, the United States Supreme Court released their opinion on the Navajo Nation versus the United States and versus Arizona on what their water allotment rights were. And we've been waiting for this since I was in DC at the end of March. And this is the statement. Under a historic water crisis in the desert Southwest, the Navajo Nation asked for the court order requiring the federal government to determine the nation's water needs and to devise a plan to meet those needs. In a 5-4 decision on Thursday, June 23rd, the Supreme Court held that the United States owes no affirmative duty to the Navajo Nation to secure water, reversing a decision by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. The majority ruled that the 1968 treaty, known to the nation as the Old Paper, establishes no federal obligation to do so. Chief Justice Kavanaugh delivered the opinion of the court in which Roberts and Thomas and Alito, along with Barrett, joined. Thomas also filed a concurring opinion. Gorsuch filed a dissenting opinion. This is Kavanaugh's opinion read to the court. The Navajo Nation lies almost entirely within the Colorado River Basin, and the three vital rivers, the Colorado, the Little Colorado, and the San Juan, border the reservation. To meet their water needs for household agriculture, industrial, and commercial purposes, the Navajo obtains water from rivers, tributaries, springs, lakes, and aquifers on the reservation. Much of the western United States is arid. Water has long been scarce, and the problem is getting worse. From 2000 through 2022, the region faced the driest 23-year period in more than a century, and one of the driest periods in the last 1,200 years. And the situation is expected to grow more severe in the future years. So even though the Navajo reservation encompasses numerous water sources, and the tribe has the right to use needed water from those sources, the Navajos face the same water scarcity problem that many in the western United States face. Over the decades, the federal government has taken various steps to assist the people in the western states with their water needs. The Solicitor General explains that for the Navajo tribe in particular, the federal government has secured hundreds of thousands of acre-feet of water and authorized billions of dollars for water infrastructure on the Navajo reservation. However, this isn't what the Navajo Nation asked for. And there is plenty there in the opinion, and I jumped right to talking about the Colorado and the Little Colorado and the San Juan. But the Navajo Nation asked the United States to simply not interfere with the reserved water rights. The tribe argues that the United States also must take affirmative steps to secure water for the tribe, including by assessing the tribe's water needs, developing a plan to secure the needed water, and potentially building pipelines, pumps, wells, or other water infrastructure. And obviously, we've seen the Biden administration has given the Navajo Nation and many other tribal nations infrastructure money, and the tribe has access to drilling water wells. What the Navajo Nation wanted was a discussion on where are they allocated on the same as the other 40 million Americans and the major agriculture and industry, that $15 billion worth of agriculture that happens to be a lot of our, winter crops for the rest of the country. This is a tough discussion, and there's plenty in there. And I challenge you to go read all of what was presented by Kavanaugh and understand where we are. And we just saw Justice Kavanaugh on the Sackett versus EPA side with the dissenting judges on how it would impact the waters of the United States and protected lakes and rivers. And so we understand water law. The bigger piece is we made an agreement in 1868 with the Navajo Nation. And in 1922, we started the compact that gave most senior water rights to California. And then we get into the other court cases we've had, winters and whatnot. And this is a big deal. And this comes right into the dissenting opinion by Justice Gorsuch, supported by Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson. He says, today the court rejects a request the Navajo Nation never made. This case is not about compelling the federal government to take affirmative steps to secure water for the Navajos. Respectfully, the relief the tribe seeks is far more modest. Everyone agrees the Navajo received enforceable water rights by treaty, Everyone agrees the United States holds some of those water rights in trust on the tribe's behalf. And everyone agrees that the extent of those rights has never been assessed. Adding those pieces together, the Navajo have simply asked. They want the United States to identify the water rights it holds for them. And if the United States has misappropriated the Navajo's water rights, the tribe asked for it to formulate a plan to stop doing so prospectively. This is a massive discussion we're having here. And Justice Gorsuch has always done a great job of fighting for the tribal nations, the sovereignty of land. We moved them to the Western United States. He continues, because there is nothing remarkable about any of this. I would affirm the Ninth Circuit's judgment and allow the Navajo's case to proceed. The Navajo have tried it all. They have written federal officials. They have moved this court to clarify the United States' responsibility when representing them. They have sought to intervene directly in water-related litigation. And when all of these efforts were rebuffed, they brought a claim seeking to compel the United States to make good on its treaty obligations by providing an accounting of what water rights it holds on their behalf. At each turn, they've received the same answer. Try again. When this routine first began in the earnest, Elvis was still making his rounds on the Ed Sullivan Show. I also challenge you to listen to the rest or read the rest of Justice Gorsuch and what he continues to talk about. This is a big deal. Sovereign water rights. Yes, 40 million Americans need water. Our agricultural industry needs water. 300,000 of the Navajo Nation need their water rights and need to be able to build industry and agriculture and do what is right for them as well. We've got a lot going on with water, everybody, and it keeps going back to the Supreme Court, and we need to be paying attention to how it rolls out. For this week's feature, we're going to go to our favorite drilling groundwater conference in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and visit about the 2023 Jubilee. But there's a familiar yet strange face on this interview, and it's not Kim. It's my old pal and the editor-in-chief of the Driller magazine, Jeremy. How the heck have you been, Jeremy? Where you been? You just went on a hiatus.
I occasionally fall off the radar, and it's probably safer that way, safer for everyone around me and all of that. No, I have been, busy putting out the magazine, busy keeping up with the evolutions of the industry, and busy putting together the program and all of the materials or some of the materials. Obviously, Ken runs the show, but we're busy getting ready for Jubilee. So it's good to be back, and it's good to be seen again.
Yeah, welcome. And we have Kim Barclay, the executive director of the Jubilee. And it's been a while since you've been on too, Kim.
Yeah, it's been a year. We did this last year as a prelude to the event, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
We're happy to have you. So what's exciting happening at the 2023 event?
So, as always, we have lots of exciting things. A lot of the same recurring excitement, the petting zoo, the kids zone, the picnic, all those things are still in place because they're just staples of our event and everybody loves them. But one of the big things that we're doing this year is we've never done before. It's very exciting. It's a course on Friday. So it's not on the day that all the professional development starts. It's a Friday course, and it's called Stop the Bleed. And what that is, it's a emergency response course. It's a hands-on practical course, 3 hours, where we will have, dummies, that are bleeding. I mean, it's like real life stuff happening here. And so everybody will be put in groups, and you're going to be doing tourniquets and stopping bleeding as the course suggests, and all this emergency response things that you could possibly have to endure in the field. You know, if a rod goes through somebody's arm, you know, this is like big time stuff here. So we encourage everybody. It's limited to 60 people. It's only $35 in addition to the Jubilee. You must be registered for the Jubilee in order to take this course. So we encourage as many people as possible to do this, not only just to get CE credits. This is more important than just CE credits. This could save somebody's life. And, you know, this is beyond CPR, you know, some of the OSHA stuff that you learn. This is very, very important because unfortunately, this kind of stuff does happen.
So was this part of the original registration? Did you, like, if I already registered and I didn't, and I missed this, how do I sign up for that?
You can go back and register for it. You can contact myself or Martha at the registration office. You can call the office. You know, we're not going to turn anybody away until we are full. So yeah, you can, by all means, if you missed it for some reason or didn't think you would be able to get there on Friday, but now you totally can go ahead and backtrack and register for it.
I love the idea of hosting this class and dedicating 3 hours. We talk a lot about safety at the Driller, and we talk a lot of safety at the Jubilee, and it's a very family-oriented show. And we're in a rough and tough industry, and OSHA states any business being done that is outside of 3 to 5 minutes of emergency response, we should have trained professionals on site that can immediately respond to these things. And the hardest part is we go, oh yeah, we got the first aid kit. We can do this, but then our heart's beating out of our chest, and you start losing those fundamentals. So to get to practice with colleagues and having that discussion about who's calling 911, who's doing this, you know, and of course, we should be talking a lot more about applying pressure and tourniquets than we do. And my military friends that drill overseas and whatnot, they have the same response kit as what you take into battle, because we have the same bad injuries that can happen, less bullets and bombs, but that happening. So I love this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, besides the practicality and hands-on that you'll learn from this, I think one of the other biggest takeaways is you'll learn and realize what you should have on hand in your kit versus what you just have to have. What you should have and what you have to have are two different things. So I think you'll learn a lot on, man, you know, we don't have that. We really should have that in our kit. And if you go to the Jubilee website, jubileewatershow.com, it is under the attendee information, the link, the information, the flyer. Again, it's $35 in addition to your Jubilee registration. And it's on Friday, not Saturday. It's on Friday. It's a standalone 3-hour course. Yeah.
So, Kim, I know you have like 24 other courses over the course of Saturday and Sunday, right?
Correct, correct.
A lot of those are eligible for CE credits in folks' individual states. Is this something that's also out there and eligible for CE credits, or is that not a thing for a more of a, I don't know, first aid specific?
It is, and each state is different. And this is what we struggle with, you know, as the Jubilee as a whole, providing professional development, is that each state has its own regulatory body and its own criteria. So to give you an example, last year we had a wonderful session by Richard Sproul, but it was specific to Hilton Head Island in that area and the geography of that area. So although we send the professional development approval forms to all 50 states. We do, all 50 states. Of course, Montana didn't approve that one course. And that's an example, you know, not beating up on Montana, but they don't have that geography. So that is an example of what we have to deal with. So it's each individual's contractor's responsibility. And we ask them to please check with your licensing body, your regulatory body, whoever, wherever you find out where your approvals come from, please double check so you know for sure what sessions within the scope of Jubilee is approved and what kind of course it's approved for. Because, you know, pump installer is going to need different things, you know, than a water well contractor in a lot of instances. So some of that stuff counts and some of it doesn't. So we ask the contractors to please check with their own regulatory bodies.
Well, and this sounds like it's valuable material to learn one way or another, but I figured folks would ask.
And of course, you know, as far as I'm aware, again, saying that as far as I'm aware, it has been approved, at least in all the Jubilee states. But again, you know, need to check.
So the Jubilee has always been known as the, you know, the big summer show, and it's very family oriented. For those young drilling families out there that have never come, what is your big elevator pitch of getting down and attending this conference?
Okay, let me preface this comment with we struggle because we compete with the beach. And, you know, mom will come and she's going to take the kids to the beach, and, you know, while dads will go walk the show floor and so forth. But with that said, if you are a legacy company and you are planning to pass this down to your kids, or at least have them, you know, maybe be in the industry of some sort, they really need to see, you know, all the equipment, and the products and services. We have more service-oriented exhibitors this year than we've ever had. We have finance borrowing, we have insurance, we have banking. This is the most that we've ever had as far as the service portion of our entity. And so we are very excited that, you know, they're starting to see, hey, you know, not only do they need a rig or a drill bit or, you know, whatever the, you know, casing, but they need a bank, and they need somebody to borrow money from to buy the rig. They need insurance. They need workers' comp. So we're very excited for that. But as far as the elevator pitch, I would say you're never going to find another show that encompasses the whole entire family. And we have something for everybody, because we have the petting zoo, the camel rides, the kids zone. You know, the kids can go on the show floor. You can't say that for every trade show, you know, that the kids are allowed. The kids are allowed to be in the midst of all of this exceptional education. And so we are very excited to keep on that tradition.
And it is unlike anything I've seen. Brock and I go to a lot of trade shows, and this has a really specific atmosphere. And even just last year, we did a coloring contest with the kids in our booth, and that we're planning to do that again. And that's not something you would see at any other trade show.
No, it's not.
I think it really makes the Jubilee special.
Thank you. We're proud to continue that tradition. You know, the Jubilee has always been family oriented, and it always will be.
We love that. So anything else we should know before we prepare to get to Myrtle Beach and have a great time at the conference?
So, like always, we have the raffle for the Polaris, or the $10,000 cash that benefits our scholarship program. And that is generously sponsored by DSI and A.O. Smith. So we do take cash, check, and credit cards for those. Those tickets are $50, but we also have the ever popular, and it gets bigger every year, the 50-50 raffle. Last year, the winner took away almost $5,000 in cash. So like legit, like a handful of money. So bring cash for that. And then everything else that that you can do, we do, if you decide at the last minute, hey, I can come for one day and just want to walk the trade show. Of course, you can come do that at $75. If for some reason you didn't get registered, you can register on site. It's a little bit more of a fee on site, but you can certainly do so. And we're very excited to have the picnic sponsored by Franklin Electric and the associate sponsored DSI, and they have their own raffle within that. And, DSI, Franklin, Preferred Pump, all have their own customer events that everybody should have got communication for. And Preferred Pumps and Pentair sponsor the Monday morning breakfast with the biscuits and gravy and bacon and eggs and all that good, Southern cooking. So all of that is still there. We're so excited and thankful for all of our sponsors.
Yeah, and you haven't left out the happy hour, right?
No, the beverage bar will still be open 30 minutes before the picnic opens, and that is sponsored by GeoProbe and
Gould's.
and Gould's, and we have a brand new sponsor called VFG Financing. So they're one of the new, service exhibitors that had jumped on board to help sponsor the beverage bar area. And so there'll be sodas for the kids and everything, just to make sure everybody's aware. Wine and beer is complimentary, but it's a cash bar or card. You can do card for liquor drinks. So just so no one's surprised.
Well, we love it. And we can't wait to get there. And it sounds like if you're serious about keeping everybody safe and getting home to your families, you need to be there on Friday, the 28th, and take place in this great first aid emergency response class. And then, our classes start Saturday morning at 8 a.m., July 29th. And then there's more classes on Sunday. And then there's a full trade show on Monday, along with the trade show on Sunday.
Exactly. And we're so excited, Brock, that you're going to do the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Driller again. Everybody loves that game show. And each year you make it better and more fun and more interesting. And we're so glad that you're able to provide that for us again. And that closes out the Sunday professional development. So that's the only thing happening the last session on Sunday, right before the trade show opens.
Yeah, and professional development doesn't have to be boring.
No, it doesn't.
Really doesn't.
It doesn't.
So,
and I guess I should also say, as I look over the class list, there's some great troubleshooting hammers and well following and, the world of wells. And of course, this year, the driller and we have a big focus on geothermal because of all of the need. It's everything that we see right now is geothermal, along with the water wells we need. And so we're going to have a big discussion on diversifying your business, and then a roundtable that you have allowed us to have this year that will open up a bigger discussion on, man, I can really get into this and it can be profitable. I think a lot of us believe that geothermal is kind of the cheap per foot work that you do when you don't have any other work going on. And we're in such a demand and need. We as an industry need to have bigger discussions about it.
Right. And I think that's very important, because it's one of those things that it's just kind of on the outside. You're not really looking at it hard. You're really not learning about it. And it's just there, I'll get to that later kind of thing. And you having that round table and educating everybody on the importance of it and how it's evolving in our industry is incredibly important.
I'm very excited for the conference again, and I'm bringing my children again this year. And
good.
They all they've talked about is riding a camel.
Well, we're glad to have those people back, and they're very good to us and bringing all the little baby animals for the kids to pet and hold. So we're very happy for that.
Yeah, we're both looking forward to it.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I look forward to seeing everybody in a couple weeks. We're getting close.
It's coming right up.
2 weeks.
I know.
All
Everybody
right.
have safe travels, and we'll see you down at the beach.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for episode 68 of the Driller Newscast. Check out what's going on thedriller.com. Check out what's going on at the federal level for water. Look at the PFAS litigation that's going on right now and be in the know. It's also very important for you to attend the South Atlantic Jubilee and get cooled off and refresh and professional develop. It's going to be a great time. Be safe, stay hydrated, and we really need to know what's going on and who's fighting for our water and who's fighting against our water. Thanks, everybody.